Nice to have you here again at our Startup Network. Really excited that you're joining us today. And as you know, we are right now preparing for our Unicorn Cup Finals, which is one of the most important events at Startup Network, probably, and not probably most definitely. And now we are at Unicorn Battles are actually inviting our guests, our dear friends who are with us for many years. As far as if I'm not mistaken, you have like pretty huge history with Startup Network.
I don't remember how many, but there's been a few of them, and they're well-run events, and there's some very good startups and some other, some good judges. So I enjoy doing them. Yes.
But still, do you remember the first time when you were judging? How was it? Like who invited you, and how was the interaction like right away?
I don't remember exactly. I mean, I think it must be four or five of them. But I mean, I always felt like they were well run, and there's some very good quality startups, and of course, I enjoy startups a lot. So, and then there's some good judges too. I feel like I met some quality, good some good other investors, which is always good and fun.
What is for you is to evaluate startups? As you're saying, you're enjoying it, you're enjoying startups, but is it difficult for you like to evaluate like correctly and give them the precise evaluation? And because on that depends their future win or loss.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that venture capital investing is a subjective business. There are going to be different views, and there's almost as many different views as there are investors.
Mhm.
And so, but I mean, I think one thing it's important to encourage the entrepreneurs, because it's a very difficult process and they deserve encouragement. They deserve to know that, somebody is on their side. And then maybe if we can help by asking some questions, but then evaluating them correctly, I try to give it my best shot, but I also try to let people know that there's a lot of different views in the world, and it is subjective. And then probably, I had a few years of experience at this, and so naturally some of that comes in. And after you look at a few thousand deals, you do develop certain ideas, and so I go with those. And then also the other issue is that it does depend on the space. Some deals are not in the spaces that I've been good at, and some of them are. And so I probably do a better job in those that are. And the ones that aren't, I try to not come on so strong or whatever. I mean, I would try to disclose that. So that's the best I can think of. I think part of it is, I think all the investors, we probably rely on our experience. After you see a bunch of deals, you do develop ideas. In our case, we have criteria
Mhm.
that are there's on my LinkedIn profile. There's about six or eight of them, and we're pretty consistent on those criteria. Now maybe, I mean, we developed that over many years, and maybe it's not perfect, but that is what we use. At least people can see that we're consistent. So, and then you also it's also true that the over time things change. There's new ideas that come up. I mean, 15 years ago, business for deep tech enterprise hardware, which physics and chemistry based, which is what we typically do, business model wasn't a real question. I mean, you're going to be selling hardware. It's going to be equipment. Sometimes it's $1 million systems, and there's not that many variations on business model. I mean, so, but today there's a lot of variations on that, and that's good. So there's always learning. You're always learning. So I try to balance all those things and come up with the best information I can.
Well, actually, you have pretty huge experience in venture capital. And actually, for those who, from our audience, who maybe has only joined us for the Unicorn Cup Finals, please share it because it's pretty impressive. So I would like our audience to know more about you.
Okay, well, yeah, been to a couple of rodeos, and I mean, I feel like operating experience is important. And so I came to Silicon Valley to work for Hewlett Packard back when Hewlett and Packard were there, and it was one of the great companies in the Valley. And that, you know, unfortunately is not quite as true, but it was, at one time, it was a great company. And then I did 6 startups, and a couple didn't work, but, you know, some of them, a couple of them did. There was a couple of hits, and that's the normal ratio. You know, they don't always work. And usually it's not the entrepreneur's fault. It's just, it's a hard process. And then I was looking for my next, you know, my last operating job was a, you know, pretty good exit. And we actually at one point hit over $1 billion in market cap. And so I was looking for the next thing, and I went to work for Bill Draper, who Bill is in his early 90s now. He was one of the first VCs out here in Sand Hill Road, and you know, 40 years experience, and he's a wonderful guy. He was the first investor into Skype, by the way. He's absolutely a wonderful guy. So I worked for him for 3 years and got to see a lot of deals, meet a lot of people, and I tried to learn everything I could from Bill. And then my college roommate and I decided, he had gone to work at Lehman Brothers, and, you know, was a managing director, was excellent at finance and legal and things of that nature, and also relationship with LPs. And so we decided to form our own VC fund, and that's what we've been doing since then. And, you know, and I'm more on the operating side, and we enjoy it very much. And we think we have a couple of hits coming. You know, one of them is, we think, is the first new water treatment technology since reverse osmosis was commercialized in the 1960s. Mm-hmm. It's physics, chemistry, and thermodynamics. It's a heat transfer breakthrough. I mean, which I could talk all day about it. And the other one is it's a stealth company, but we call it Shazam for fashion. And it builds, this is something that typically women understand a little better, but you know, often a person will see someone else wearing something, maybe it's a dress, and they'll want to immediately, you know, click on their phone and get the brand and the fabric and the price.
The exact same dress. Yeah.
Well, to buy it, yes. And there's about 10 or 15 startups that have tried to do this, and using just computer vision software only, and they haven't taken off. And we took some data to try to find out why. It turns out, and this was 2 leading startups. One of them is Google, and the other one is one backed by Kim Kardashian. You know, and out of 935 attempts to identify the exact same item, 0 did it work. Some problem, AI and computer vision is great for many problems, but some problems require a hardware solution, and ours does that. So
sometimes AI cannot help even with finding the perfect dress. We can say so.
You can identify with that. Okay, there you are. Well, even I've had moments about that too, and it's a very tough problem. But we have a solution. It's a combination of hardware and software and computer, you know, deep learning, and so we're working on that, and I'm pretty excited about it. So. But we found there are not enough female investors, but it turns out there's more female investors coming in, and it's a good thing. Oh. So when we raise another fund, we plan to raise another fund in a few years, and we expect we'll probably have a female partner, so that we almost don't want to miss good deals like that.
That's really exciting. I'll tell you, like, honestly, this is the things which you are saying about the solutions, which are like, seems like obvious, some of them, like with finding the right dress, but you understand how it's actually is difficult to be honest. So but in this case, it's really interesting, like, to find out like this solution, which specifically might be the best one in this case. Can you tell that you've met some of, like, from your perspective, what are the most promising startups you met at Startup Network events, at our Unicorn battles, which you can share? And it doesn't have to be like the names, but you can name, for example, the solutions they provide.
Boy, you know, I'm not prepared for that. I have to go back and look at them. I mean, there's been a bunch of them, and there's other startups, but yeah. So I don't have a great, but I've seen some good ones. I remember seeing some very good ones, and but I'd have to go. I mean, if we want, I could go back and prepare for that one. I didn't, because there's been 3 or 4 of these battles, and each one is 20 startups. So I do take notes, but I'd have to go back and review them. So I'll have to, but there's been some very good ones for sure. I mean, there's very good entrepreneurship is something that is all over the world. It seems to me.
Okay, then tell me, please, what actually makes you come back to our Unicorn Battle events? What is the maybe the key component which you like?
Well, it's I do enjoy entrepreneurs. I can't do all these things, but I mean I do enjoy entrepreneurs, so I enjoy that very much. And it's a well-run event. I mean, and the startups are good. I mean, there are good startups, and the quality of the other judges is also good. So that for me, therefore, it's fun, and it's also good for business. You just never know. You never know what who you might meet or what startup you might meet, and those are important things that are fun and also good for our business. So that's my best answer, is that it's well run. You have good quality startups and good quality judges.
Thank you so much. Actually, you're one of them. So we welcome you at our Unicorn Cup finals. Are you also waiting for it? Like, we are waiting, to be honest, impatiently, and we are preparing all the details, all the participants, all the judges. So you are definitely invited. So how are you waiting for it?
Well, I think it should be very exciting, because after all, this will be the ultimate. This will be the best startups, I guess, in the world from your network. So that means that there could be some very, very good ones. So I think that will be very exciting. I look forward to that. Yeah.
Tell us more. How do you think on that? In that case, should we next season organize like much more battles, or for example, as just recently we've been asking you like doing the poll and asking whether like should we like we've been doing this like in 3 additional verticals apart from general battles. We've been doing AI battles, fintech, and health tech. How do you think, should we, for example, look at some other verticals as well and do additionally them in the future season?
I think that would be great, because I'm biased. I like a certain space, and it really is it's better, I think, for the entrepreneurs to specialize in a space, because I'm going to be completely honest here. For me, I'm a deep tech hardware person, physics and chemistry. I'm not as good at evaluating software startups. I'm just not. And we generally do not invest in them because it's just not our comfort zone. And the software people don't really understand our startups either. So, and then we don't do life science, or, it's too different. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, so the one I would think of is to do something with, deep tech hardware. That's what I would say. I mean, not commoditized hardware, but some new hardware advances, like, was it Peter Thiel that said we wanted flying cars and we got 140 characters, and we're more in the flying car area. So there probably are fewer of them, but there's some big problems out there to solve, and there's beginning to be more interest in that space. So that's what, but I'm biased, but that's what I would lobby for. And I think, there might be a couple of other verticals also. So I think that would be good. But there's an angel network. My undergrad was Caltech, California Institute of Technology, which is, it's a deep tech, deep science school. It's pure science. It's one of the most scientific schools in the world. And we have this Caltech Angels Network that was founded by a great young alum, and I'm the co-chairman along with him. And we do events and virtual events, but we're always having to fine tune things and look for new ideas. And we're actually looking for other organizations to cooperate with, because the more critical mass you have, the better off you are. So I think it's always good to be thinking and looking, how to get better or somehow move forward. I think that's a good idea. So yeah.
Have you already partnered with Startup Network, with your angel network? I mean,
I have not. I'd be happy to explore it offline. I mean, usually the deals are deep tech, and so you can just imagine. I mean, Caltech is like I don't know if you've seen the The Big Bang Theory, the TV show.
I watched it like from the first season till the last one, almost.
Yeah. Well, that show is set at Caltech.
Really?
Yes, it's not as obvious. It took me a while to figure it out. But as a past president of the Caltech Alumni Association, I've gotten to know a lot of our alums, and that show is pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. A lot of our, I mean, if you want to have a rocket to the moon that works, you need people that are on that show. That's the kind of people that can do that. I mean, some people, you know, may not like them, or they may be the most popular. But if you want the rocket to go to the moon and land and be safe, you need those type of alums. That's the way it works. So, you know, that's so yeah. I mean, I haven't thought about it. I'd be happy to talk about it, think about it, and figure out ways we can cooperate. I mean.
Actually, here when you were saying about Caltech, because I've heard what they've been talking about, but honestly, I haven't seen the pictures from inside the Caltech. So how they like recreated the inside the building, or have they something recorded there? Have they filmed anything in there?
I would have to check. I'm not sure. I doubt they film that much of it inside. I mean, most of it is probably in studios. But the you know, like Sheldon has his PhD in theoretical physics, and he is a professor at Caltech. And the other guy, Leonard, is it? The other guy is Leonard is an experimental physicist at Caltech. And they're all employed by Caltech. They may have gotten their PhDs at other places, but they're all PhDs. They're you know, the leading ones are in physics, and so and there may be an advisor that kind of tries to make sure that it's accurate, and I think it is generally fairly accurate. So, but I don't have a lot of detail on that. So yeah.
But this is really interesting. I'll tell you, like when I was watching this, I understood that they were talking about the real university, but in this case, I didn't like realize that it might be especially there. So have been using maybe the same equipment the students are using, etc. Maybe for some of the scenes. So honestly, this is really exciting. I even didn't know that. Tell us more about when did you start doing this in Caltech, these events, and how was it going? And how do you think how should we generally in the world have more of such events where the startup founder can meet investor, pitch idea, and they can discuss it, and later on maybe do some discuss potential investments or etc.
Yeah, I'm a believer in these things. I mean, you know, doing startups is hard, and one of the most difficult tasks is raising funds. Yeah. And it takes a long time. It takes a tremendous effort, and you need to meet a lot of people. You really do. You need to meet a lot of potential investors. I mean, it's absolutely crucial. And you know, for example, us as a VC firm, in a good year, we look at 1,000 deals, take 25 meetings, and make 3 investments. So that right there shows you why it's a hard process for the entrepreneur. So, and so, you know, and as a VC, we want to see more and more deals and I think the entrepreneurs also want to see a lot of investors. So the more you can get that critical mass going, the better. It's better for both sides, really. So, and it's turned out, now the Caltech Angels Network started in 2019 before COVID. And we have always been virtual, and that was because our founder Soumya Vij, he's a Caltech alum, and his other alma mater is Birla Institute of Technology in India, and they did a virtual network, and it worked really well. And it's turned out it's worked well for us too. So, but you know, we want to expand the critical mass, but it's better to have deals that our investors will like, which are typically deep tech, you know, hardware. So, you know, I think we're looking now. You know, we could partner with other universities. You know, we're open to partnering with a number of organizations to figure out how best to do that. So, and yeah, I think that, you know, worldwide. I mean, the other good thing about virtual networks is, of course, it gets people all over the world involved. And I do think once COVID passes, there will be more of an interest in meeting in person.
Yeah.
But you know, you can get started by Zoom. You can definitely get started and then figure out how best to go forward, and that's a benefit. So, yeah.
Actually, when you're saying especially about meeting in person, I can tell you, like from my previous interviews, a lot of judges as well and startup founders, they are saying that actually they miss, for example, unicorn battles, which were offline, in offline format, because they actually, first of all, of course, this is like good additional possibility to do this throughout this period of time, which we're doing and which we adapted. As you were saying, you were doing this like much earlier in virtual format, but honestly, like this time we're adapting, and actually this is, on the one hand, it was a challenge, but at the same time it brought like more people at the same sometimes like at one place, because now we can kind of connect at the same time with people, with judges from different parts of the world. So when Startup Network does unicorn battles, of course, in offline format, in that case, we're doing this in, for example, one city, in one country. So only those people who can meet there, they meet there. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, on the one hand, there are pros and cons at different formats, for example. But I can really feel, and I can really tell that people feel this lack of intercommunication, like face to face. So this is actually, we're still hoping that next season is going to be again offline. I think that sometimes we can do this offline online format, so like both hybrid format, let's just say so. But
Yeah.
definitely we would like at the same time again go back to like and meet in person, for example, and
Yeah.
to discuss.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and actually, we really hope the next season we're coming back again to the US, and we will do again maybe in San Francisco, in LA, and in different cities. And probably we should also definitely discuss it with. I would love to see, by the way, Caltech, and see how, for example, your events are happening, are taking place. So this is like definitely we should also discuss further in the future. Uh, but Jim, from your perspective, actually, from the events you've been to, and we are actually this asking like a lot of people who are entering our ecosystem. What's in your opinion the main value Startup Network brings?
Well, yeah, you just reminded me that's right. There were startup network battles that were in person before this happened. And I remember going. They were in San Francisco. So yeah, that's true. But I think I agree with you that in person is invaluable, and I think we all deep down want to have that, and that'll be better for both investors and entrepreneurs. But I would say the value is the same. You great entrepreneurs, you have great judges, you have the entrepreneurial energy, and it's very well run, and it's a lot of work to put on an event. And it takes skill to make it happen, to get people there and to get it promoted, and it's we've done a few events, but you guys do a lot of events, and so credit to you for doing that, because it's not easy doing that, and you never really know. I was helping with an event one time, and I asked this assistant vice president, this is at Caltech, who had done many events. She was a professional at it. I said, how do you know how many people are going to show up at an event? And she said, you never know. And so that's the thing that you guys might be, working with every event, is you don't really know. And that's inevitably that generates stress, but you guys you have a consistent record of putting on great events, and that's really good. So yeah, I think it's the same characteristics, but yeah, I do agree that in person it really is better. I think there's one professor of physiology said that after millions of years, we're wired to learn from the person right next to us. And there's even data showing that the best science is done by people that, as measured by citations, is done by people that are 30 feet apart. Which is stunning, right? I mean, that makes it just crystal clear that, in person is really important. So yeah. But you guys have. I agree. There are pros and cons, and there has been some benefits. But I think we all want to get back to in person. Absolutely. I mean, I miss it for many reasons. Yeah. But it's happening. It's you can sell, you know, in 6 or 9 months it's going to be there. So yeah.
Yeah, so let's hope for that. But for the time being, we're waiting for a Unicorn Cup, and we're also expecting you to be there. And as you're saying, we may never know, but we are still expecting a lot of people, like from different parts of the world. So in this case, all of our bride judges, all of our the brightest winners will be there, and they will be fighting for the main prize, who will be like the best star of this season. So we're welcoming you, and I think it will be really exciting for you as well.
Thank you. I look forward to it, Maria. I really do. I do. Yeah. Sounds terrific.
Thank you so much, Jim, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll see you soon. First in like again in virtual event, and hopefully in the future in the US.
I look forward to it. It'd be a pleasure. Thank you, Maria. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye. Let's see, now what do I do?